Today is officially my last first day of school ever. I've done elementary school. I finished all 4 years of high school. I did all 4 years of college, and now we're starting my last year of school for my master's degree. I'm finishing it out. I'm so excited. I cannot believe that this is my last day of school. I literally can't believe it. And I'm about to show y'all and go through my day. I'm about to talk through all my emotions with y'all. But first, I just went on a 4.8 mile run to start my day. So I need to eat breakfast and then I need to shower. And then we're gonna do a little get ready with me while I talk about all my emotions about this upcoming year and what I'm feeling on my last first day of class ever. Okay, first though, I've got to tell y'all, so this is a new electrolyte thing that I've been trying. I worked this summer for Bama Dining, and the dietitian there got sent a bunch of these, so this is like free that they got sent, and it's this brand called Scratch, and I've been looking for kind of an electrolyte drink because if you've watched some of my vlogs, what I used to make was these, like, I would do like water with maple syrup, lime juice, and then like half a teaspoon of salt. But this is just like this powder. You do like 1 scoop per like 12 to 16 ounces of water. So I just put it in. This one tastes like lemon and lime, which yummy, because I love lemon water. Like if you go to a restaurant with me, I'm ordering water with lemon. Can I have a water with lemon, please? Yes. So it's so yummy. Gotta zip this little bag up. And I'm about to chug this because I just sweat so much on my run. It's getting hot, guys. Like the August heat in Alabama, it's hot. I'm just gonna mix her up. Look how good this is, like this ice water. That's good. Okay, now I'm gonna make breakfast and shower, and I'll see y'all after. Okay, I'm officially showered and fed, so now I need to really stretch because the second I got up from the breakfast table, I realized that my legs are so sore from going to the gym the other day, so I'm gonna chat while I stretch. It's honestly kind of unbelievable that today is my last first day of school. Especially like when you go back in time and think about all of your other first day of schools. Like I remember so vividly my first day of kindergarten because I had been sick on the actual first day. And so on the second day, I remember my mom walked me in and then I walked to class with one of my best friends. And it's just crazy that, you know, it's been so long since then and I've had so many first day of school, so many days where I was just so sad because summer was ending. Because let me tell you, my school journey has not been an easy one. I am not somebody who loves school, and I'm actually somebody who counts down every day of the year until summer vacation comes because I just really dislike school. My journey getting to the University of Alabama has definitely been a rocky one. Growing up, my whole family are huge Alabama fans, like Roll Tide all the way, Alabama everything. We absolutely love the Tide. And so growing up, I always wanted to go to the University of Alabama. Like I thought, like literally my thought of what college was is I thought that college was a place that you went to go cheer on your sports team and to make friends. I did not know that there was any school involved. I did not even understand the concept of higher education. Like all of my life, like up until maybe like 5th grade, I thought that college was just for having fun and like going to football games. So imagine my despair when I come to find out that it is all about going to higher classes and harder classes and having to pay so much to get a degree. So I feel like, you know, after having that phase of really wanting to go to Alabama, because my mom went here, my dad went here, both of my grandparents went here, 2 of my aunts went here, literally my whole family, huge Alabama fans. So after me really wanting to come here, I feel like over time, especially like starting in middle school, I feel like growing up in Alabama, as you get older, you kind of come to realize like the stereotypes and like the bad feelings that people have towards the state and like towards the people who live in this state. And you know, you watch shows and movies and you see people kind of like making fun of Southern accents, thinking that we're dumb, thinking all this horrible things about, you know, Alabama being so racist and like the slavery state and all this awful stuff. And so I definitely remember in middle school a lot of people being like, I can't wait to get out of the state, I can't wait to never live in Alabama again, like Alabama sucks. And I definitely got on that wavelength because I was like, yeah, why are we in Alabama? Like everybody hates us, we're at the bottom of every chart besides like maybe Mississippi. And I just had a really negative connotation of our state. And so in high school, I really was dead set on going out of state for college. And actually before COVID, me and my mom and my brother went on a lot of college tours, like out basically on like the East Coast, a lot of those type of states. I really liked North Carolina. I really liked the idea of that. And I just toured a bunch of places, and I did not tour the University of Alabama. I was actually dead set on not going there. I didn't even want to apply to the University of Alabama as my backup school. And that was pre-COVID. So then COVID hits, and I feel like everybody in my grade, because that was like my senior year, like the end of my junior year, beginning of my senior year was like peak COVID. And I feel like everybody just got kind of burnt out of applying to colleges. And a lot of my friends had lists of like tens of colleges that they wanted to apply to. And I did too. I had a whole long list, and I didn't end up applying to that many. I ended up applying to like 3, and Alabama was one of them. And the reason that my mom really convinced me to come here was because I remember we were touring UNC. And again, I loved it. I loved UNC. I really wanted to go there. And my mom was like, you know, this campus reminds me a lot of Alabama and Tuscaloosa, except for it's light blue instead of crimson. And I was like, yeah, whatever. You're just saying that because you want me to go to Alabama. And then I remember thinking about it a little bit more and starting to think about kind of the financial side of it and how, you know, I could go in-state for like a great amount of scholarships. And the University of Alabama also gives great scholarships to people who are out of state too. So I really started to think about it as an option. And I never took an official tour or anything like that. I just kind of applied, got accepted, and was kind of like, okay, well, I guess I'll go and be debt free and it'll be great. Which is not really the attitude that you want to have when you're going to college. Because in my head, I was thinking, you know, college is a whole new chapter. You want to be so excited. You want to be so pumped, all this stuff. And I just wasn't. I was just kind of like, okay, it'll be fine, whatever. And let me also say, I was so excited to leave high school. My last day of high school was quite literally the best day of my life. Like I'm hard pressed to think of a time where I was more happy to leave a place. I remember that morning I was just jumping for joy. It was the last day. We didn't really have any like classes or any school to have. Like we just kind of all signed each other's yearbooks and stuff like that. I was literally beyond pumped. I could not wait to get out of there. And high school for me was fun socially, but the classes were just incredibly hard. And my high school in particular really pushed a lot of AP classes, a lot of honors classes, and everybody there seemed like they were on a fast track to college, and it was just very education focused, which I'm very lucky to have gone to a place like that. But oh God, guys, like I hated it. I hated school. There would be so many nights where my mom would come home and I would just be crying on the stairs because I just I couldn't do the work anymore. I didn't want to read. I didn't want to study. I was just completely over it. And so the idea of college in itself was also kind of a rocky idea. Like the idea of going on to do higher education and to learn more and to do more school, like I just did not really think that that was up my alley. But at the same time, I didn't really know what else I would do. Like I could go to trade school, but I think I was kind of scared to do that. And so college it was. And Alabama, I was somewhat excited for it. But I remember distinctly, the first time that it really hit me that I was excited to be at Alabama was when we were getting to choose student ticket packages. Because again, going back to my family always being huge Bama football fans, I am a huge Bama football fan. Like, go to a game with me, you're gonna have the time of your life. Like, I love Alabama football. And so when we got to choose our student ticket packages, I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, we get to go to like Alabama football games and sit in the student section. Because my whole childhood, whenever we would go to a game, you would see this one section of the stadium. Everybody is standing. Every single person is shaking their shaker. It is such community camaraderie. They're all yelling the loudest. They have the most cheer. They're singing the songs the loudest. It just seemed like the most fun and exciting place to be in. And I just absolutely loved it. I even remember sometimes there was one away game where me and my dad sat next to the band for Alabama, and I felt like the luckiest girl in the world. I felt like I was in the student section because we got to sit so close to the band. And so when we were getting to choose tickets, I was like, wow, I get to have 4 years of Alabama football where I get to be in the student section. And that really turned it all around for me, because like that was just so exciting. Even though it might sound kind of silly and kind of dumb, that was so thrilling to me and so exciting. Being a part of a university that I really love and that I really root for and that really just feels like such a team, I think really made all the difference for me in making friends, joining clubs, joining different groups, and really being involved in my classes. And honestly, college has been just a completely opposite and different experience than high school, and that not only has it just been fun socially, but I've actually enjoyed the classes that I've been taking, which makes sense because I got to choose a major that I'm actually interested in instead of taking random history and English classes that I never thought would matter to me or weren't interesting to me. And so now I get to actually do something that I love and that I'm interested in, and I'm working towards like a career goal and a career path. And so while a lot of classes have been hard, and while I have cried after a lot of tests wishing that school would be over, it's kind of crazy to think that this is actually my last year in college. And what's also insane is that because this is my master's year, last year was actually supposed to be my last year, my senior year. And throughout the whole senior year, all my friends that weren't in the coordinated program would be like, oh my gosh, it's last first day of classes. Oh my gosh, this is our last first game of the season. And then when the last game of the season happened, so many people were so sad. And I just was not like living in it. I was just like, I got another year. Bleh, peace out. I got another year. Don't worry about it. And now that it's actually here, I feel like I just need to reflect for a moment and think about, like how big this is. And I think it really says something that even though I've been here in Tuscaloosa and on this campus for 4 years, I'm still not tired of this town. I'm still finding new things that I love about it. I mean, I've just started my running journey over, and this is the first year that I've really been running on campus, which is amazing. And seeing Denny chimes in the sunrise, it's just absolutely beautiful. So I have such an appreciation for this school. I have such an appreciation for this 5th year here, and it's making me feel really content just about knowing where I'm going and knowing that I'm getting the absolute most out of my college experience. And now I've actually had time to reflect on like all the things that I want to make sure that I do this year, and all the different sports games that I want to go to, all the different bars that I want to go to with my friends, all the bucket list items I feel like I have kind of like down pat. So I'm just really excited for this year. It's crazy that this is my last first day of class, and I'm just pumped. I'm just excited, and I'm also excited to be done with school after this year, even though it feels kind of scary to leave college, because it really is like a little like island of its own, everybody just like going to classes, coming home, going to the pool together, going to the bars. It's like its own little island in the midst of life. And while it's scary to leave that, it also is really exciting to think that like this time next year, I'll actually have like a job, like a big girl job on salary, hopefully. And just being able to go somewhere else that's not Alabama, because even though I've built such an appreciation for this state, and I've really realized that like, I can be an ambassador for Alabama, and when people meet me, maybe that can show them that, a lot of Alabama is good, and a lot of people in Alabama are good and have good morals and good beliefs. And I don't feel as scared, and especially because like Alabama is actually 60% out-of-state students. I really was scared of being judged. I really was scared of people thinking that I was stupid. I was scared of them thinking that my accent made me dumb. I was scared of people thinking that I was a bad person, or just assuming my political beliefs and things like that. But after meeting so many people that are not from here, and so many people that are from California, New York, all over the United States who have been really kind, it makes me feel a lot better about leaving this state and going to live somewhere else, at least for a little bit of time in my life. But who knows what the future holds. All I know is that I'm really going to be locked in for this year. I'm excited to see how my classes are about to go. And we only have 2 classes today. One of my classes is online, so I really need to check online, like the syllabi and all that type of thing. But I think it's going to be a good year. And I think that even though right now I'm not like ready to go and ready to leave this campus, I'm sure that by next semester and by the end of next semester, I will feel completely ready to leave Tuscaloosa and go somewhere else. Okay, let's go to class. Alright, so I started my day in the absolute best way possible, walking across the quad to get to my first class, which is in a really weirdly small room, but we made it work, and I both paid attention and worked on my presentation that's actually due tomorrow, and I know that's pretty early for how early in the school semester it is, but that is the life of a master's student, I suppose, and I found out pretty quickly that I'm going to be pretty hungry on Mondays because there's not any time for lunch, and I have to go straight from classes to tutoring every single day that I have classes. So I brought some snacks, and then we went to our next class, which was in a much nicer building in the business hall, and I had such a fun time learning about clinical nutrition and getting back into the routine of being in a classroom, etc. Okay guys, my first day of school was literally such a success. I had such a wonderful day. I love my teachers. I love my classes. I feel like it's just going to be a great semester. So basically, I had 2 classes today. My third class was going to be in person, but ended up changing to online because we have like a little professor switch up. So today I only had to go to 2 in person. They were both about an hour and 15 minutes. And I will say, and I'm not sure how this is going to go the rest of the days because my first class got cut short because it was just like introduction to the syllabus. I will say I have a lot of a harder time with classes that are like, usually the Tuesday, Thursday classes, or the ones that are 2 days a week, are an hour and 15 minutes, whereas the Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes are 50 minutes. And at 50 minutes, I feel like is my cutoff for how long I can pay attention. So I'm a little worried about like how that's gonna go and how smoothly, like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to like lock in for that full, 2 hours and 30 minutes, but we shall definitely see. But I feel like it was a good day. Went to my first class. It was biochemistry. We were in kind of a weird room and kind of a weird building that I had never been in before for a class, and it did not have enough chairs and desks for all the students in it, which was bizarre. And usually when I have a class like that, the professor will immediately be like, I'm gonna figure out a different room, don't worry about it, like I'm gonna put in a request. And she didn't say anything about that. So I'm not really sure how that bodes for the rest of our semester. It means that I'll probably have to be making sure that I'm getting to class early enough so that I actually get a seat with a desk and I don't have to sit on the floor. Although I don't mind sitting on the floor, so like I would do that. But anyways, and then it was good that we got out of that class early today because we were actually able to like eat some lunch in between. So I had like a little study break, a little lunch break where I had like my little snack packs because I really didn't bring like a full lunch since I knew that we were going to be getting out early. And I didn't have like work after school today because usually I will. So I knew that I would have time to kind of eat right when I got home. But so that was the first class, and we didn't go over any material. We just went over the syllabus. And then my second class is like my clinical nutrition class, which seems like it will be cool. Our professor in that class definitely takes advantage of all her time. So even if there's only 2 minutes left in the class, she'll still move on to the next PowerPoint slide because she thinks that it's important to take advantage of our time, which I totally get that. And I think that's awesome. But that's how the second class went. And that one was in a business building, which we never had a class in there before. And let me tell you, those business sponsors pay really well. So it was like a really nice classroom and a really nice building. So that's also a great thing for the semester. Afterwards, we went to a meeting with one of our professors in this room, like this kind of conference room in Russell Hall. So the person that we met with was the coordinated program director. So she's like the director of our program that basically does everything like with matching up our classes, with our rotations and things like that. So we got to meet with her, kind of talk about the semester. And then also she's going to be our food service professor for this, not like the class, but the rotation. So we do our food service assignments through her. So she's the one who is going to be with food service. So the girls who are doing food service rotation first, which is not me, I'm doing clinical first, but those girls had to stay extra after that. And I just got to go home. And so, yeah, it was a great first day. I'm feeling good about this semester. And yeah, I'm excited to see what the rest of the week brings. I feel like so tomorrow and the next day we have a 2-day boot camp for clinicals. So there's only a few girls who are doing clinicals first, and so I'm not sure what is involved in this boot camp. We haven't gotten an agenda yet, but I am interested and excited to let y'all know how it goes because we will see. But it sounds like we're going to be in one room from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., maybe even 4 p.m., which is a long dang time. So I'll let y'all know how it goes, but that was my first day, and yeah. This was indeed the conference room that I spent 7 hours in, and I did not get tired because of the swivel chair, but man, it was a lot of information, but I feel like it was actually helpful. Okay guys, day 1 of clinical boot camp actually went really well. I was kind of afraid that it was gonna be kind of like, not a waste of my time, I didn't think that at all, but I was kind of interested in like, if we were going to be going over a lot of topics that we talked about before medical nutrition therapy, or what it was going to be like. But actually it was a ton of really useful information that we were probably going to need for clinicals like coming up. So I really enjoyed day 1, and we did like present our projects that I talked about. I think it was in this last like weekly reset, I talked about the project presentation that we had to have done. So basically all of us got like 4 different disease states that we had to like make a 20-minute presentation on and give to the rest of the girls, so that we could all be kind of caught up on these important disease states that we're probably going to see a lot in clinicals. So that was day 1 of clinical boot camp. So again, we went over like important lab values, we went over important disease states, and just like important information that we would need to know. And I still don't really know how it took the whole time, but it really did take the whole time from like 8 to 3 or from 9 to 3. But it was good, and we actually had our meeting space in the same like office, or not office, the same conference room that we had our meeting from yesterday with our coordinated program director. So we were in that same room again for like the whole day, but it was kind of nice because it was like swivel chairs and it was just like comfy, cozy. So it was a good day, and I honestly enjoyed it. Tomorrow I'm a little nervous because she said that we're actually going to the nurses skill lab, and we're going to be learning how to place NG tubes on dummies. And those NG tubes are like nasal gastric tubes that you feed like through the nose and like down to the stomach. And it's now in the scope of practice for a dietitian to place an NG tube, because that's how they're getting their nutrition. And so I'm a little bit nervous about tomorrow, and I just don't know how it's gonna go, but I don't know. But all that matters is that today was a good day, and we will see what tomorrow holds. And also it seems like the professor that's like kind of leading our class in rotations and like teaching us about what we're going to be doing in rotations, it seems like she really genuinely cares about her students. So that also is making it like really exciting. And like her enthusiasm and positivity made all of those hours go by faster, I think, kind of looking back on it. But yeah, let's see how tomorrow goes. All right, so midday, we made our way up to the nursing college, which is kind of far away from everything else, but such a beautiful building. And one of the nursing teachers taught us how to put in NG tubes. It was so cool to see the skills lab. We stood there and she told us all about the different equipment, how to do everything, and then we actually got to place them on dummies ourselves. Okay guys, I am happy to report that I successfully placed a fake NG tube, well, it was a real NG tube, on a fake person. So I am certifiably certified to place NG tubes, which it was actually a really cool day. So we did a little bit like of the same of what we did yesterday at our clinical boot camp, where we went over PowerPoints that we made and kind of finished those up. And then we all walked over, or like parked and then walked over to the nursing college, and we got to go into this lab with all these dummies, and it was so cool. Once we actually got into the skills lab, the teacher was really, really nice. It was like one of the nursing, it was obviously somebody from nursing who was skilled at teaching people how to place NG tubes. And because she was so nice, and because we had such a small group of girls, it was only like 6 of us plus our professor, I think I felt a lot safer like being able to mess up and like trial and error, because it was so few people, and I felt like I could ask more questions. So basically we sat on the beds next to these dummies while this nurse basically showed us how to do it, and basically we got to practice, and it was really cool. We got to, let the NG tube, we got to learn how to do tape to keep it on the nose. We got to learn how to measure like how long the NG tube needs to go down and like how to mark that on the actual tube. We learned how to insert it and how to kind of guide the patient's head of like what they're supposed to do throughout the process. And it was just really awesome, and it made me really excited for the prospect of like actually doing this in clinical as a job, just because like, I don't know, I never really thought that dietetics could be so involved in a hospital, and this being added to our scope of practice and like other things being added are just, it's really cool to think about. And honestly, today made me feel really empowered, and it made me feel really excited for rotations next week. But I literally was like, let me in there, let me place an NG tube. I'm ready to do it on a real person, I promise. And maybe I'm not, maybe I would like to actually see some like real life ones done first instead of just like a video or something or a description. I would like to actually like see a procedure done up close and personal before I do one. But just the prospect of it is so cool, and I love being in the skills lab, and it was just awesome. It made me feel so confident in my abilities and everything that we've learned so far. And yeah, it just made me really excited for next week. So if you want to actually see how my rotations go, next week is my first week of clinical rotations, and I'm going to be vlogging all of it. So if you want to see that, you can go ahead and watch that video for next week. And then that's kind of my day today. Tonight, I'm actually going, so I actually have to go to Galette's, which is one of the bars here, to pick up a bar crawl t-shirt. And that might sound kind of crazy, but tomorrow is the big back to school bar crawl with like line leap. And so me and a bunch of my friends and a bunch of other people I know are like doing it. And it's basically fun because a lot of the bars on the strip and in downtown Tuscaloosa agreed to have like discounted drinks, free cover. So it's like from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. and all day you can just go into the bars and like get whatever. We're not planning to drink that much. We're just kind of planning to go into bars that we've never seen before, never hung out in before. And yeah, I think it's going to be a fun time, and I'm going to show y'all maybe a few clips from that. But yeah, I think it was just such a good first week. Of course, it wasn't a full week. It was only 3 days because school started on a Wednesday. But yeah, super excited, and I feel like clinical boot camp went as well as it could have gone, and I feel like it was a really, really beneficial like spending of my time. So yeah, that was my first week. And as promised, I finished my first week of school out with the back to school bar crawl, which was so fun to go out with my friends and see all of our favorite spots. It was such a great end to the week, and yeah, I can't wait for the rest of this semester. So if y'all want to follow along, please do, and I love ya.